6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right. Hey, long time no see. It's me, Justin, the skeptic spin guy. You guys haven't seen me in a while, and I'm sorry about that. And I know I said I was just going to take a break and I would make a big comeback someday. But right now, there's just too much stupid going on in the world. Well, in my world, anyways. My world is in Canada. So if you have been living under a rock, allow me to let you know that um, less than 12 hours ago, an election took place here in Canada. We got a minority liberal government, which is fantastic news. Um, I couldn't be happier. My vote for liberal in my riding, in other words, where I live, didn't win, and that's unfortunate, but that's okay. That's fine. We've got a liberal government, which is exactly what we wanted. We did not want a conservative government. The man running the party over there simply wasn't qualified to handle the prime minister role at the current state of the world, right? So, again, if you're living under a rock, the state of the world is a Donald Trump world. Everybody is waiting for the next stupid thing that Donald Trump is going to do. And in that world, everybody needs to be prepared and ready to react. Um, who do you want to put in that position? Who's the man who is best suited for reacting to sudden changes to um, the markets and the economy and stuff than a man who has literally been in charge of crisis situations for most of his career. He's led the Bank of Canada. He's worked in England. He's done so many great things. He's got connections. He may not have much of a personality or even a track record in politics, but he's exactly what Canada needed right now. Um, with that, there's there's tons of these right leaning, stupid, rhetoric spewing morons on the internet. I mean, there's no secret. We know that. I came across a couple right off the bat, um, baked on things and Josh on topic, who are just coping so hard because, their PP guy did not win, Pierre Poilievre, and now they're spewing like fear mongering rhetoric, um, trying to scare the whole world into thinking that you know democracy is dead, which is fascinating thing to say, considering that literally we just witnessed democracy in action, right? Like the votes don't lie. The liberals won the popular vote. The liberals have the most seats in the House. It's a liberal government. It's a minority government, and that's fine. Um, but I mean, it was literally the will of the people that spoke up and said, "Sorry, but not sorry." Conservative government and Pierre Poilievre are not the people we need right now. We need somebody who can stick and move and handle the situations as it comes, right? So let's have a look real quick. I just want to show you. So I've got it queued up back here. So I'm just going to, I mean, I wasn't ready for this. I've got a small little bit of a script that I put together here, but I really am not 100% sure where this is going to go. I'm not trying to be here forever, but allow me to show you guys. So hopefully this will just work without any rehearsal of any kind. So here's our first clown. Is baked on things. I'm not really sure what to say about his channel name, but to give you an idea of how unhinged he is, let's have a listen to just his opening line, and then I'll cover some of his points that he mentions throughout his video. And if you want to go watch his whole video, you can. The links are in my description here. But I mean, just his opening sentence alone. Check this out.
As I say to my dog when she eats her own crap, Canada, what did you do? Let's go.
I mean, how ridiculous of a statement to open a video with. I'll just give him another few seconds here, and then I'll address one
Welcome
of the
back
things he
to
said.
Bakes on Things. Canada tonight is not, or today now is not what we hoped for. Mark Carney and the Liberal Party have won this election. And while we feel the disappointment, we cannot, as Canadians, lose sight of what comes next.
So, yeah, so this is Baked on Things. He's ridiculous. He goes on talking about how Canadians chose chains and taking away their freedoms. I mean, I don't understand this. So, Canada is listed as one of the freest countries on the planet. Okay, the Fraser Institute, Freedom House. Again, I've got sources in my description for where all of this comes from, but we haven't chose chains over freedom. In fact, I ask conservatives all the time. I went slumming on Facebook not long ago, and I ask conservatives all the time to give me just like one example of freedom that has been taken away. And I can't get anybody to answer for where freedoms have ever been taken away. The only one answer I may have gotten was the vaccine mandates. I couldn't go out for dinner if I didn't have a vaccine. It's like, well, wait a minute. Whose freedoms are you protecting here? Like, are you protecting the restaurant's freedom to deny service, because for safety concerns? Or are you just saying that, like, you don't want anybody to be able to tell you anything, that kind of freedom, right? Like, no laws. You just want to be able you force people to serve you. Well, sorry, bud, but that's not how freedom works, right? Your freedoms stop the moment your fist comes and hits my face. And now, as I say this, I realize that there's probably a lot of people watching this, or they're going to watch this going, I would love to hit your face. Uh, Go ahead. It's whatever makes you happy. Okay. But listen, liberals haven't chosen chains, and we haven't let fear control our vote. Um, in fact, the moment Carney became an option, uh, Canada, by the way, one of the most educated countries on the planet, stopped and thought about what they were doing with their vote. In fact, I would even argue possibly, and I'm speculating here, but one of the reasons why the NDP party has lost so many seats and lost so much position in our government is because of strategic voting. I would wager that a lot of Canadians out there went, just for now, we don't need a great smile or Mr. Personality. We need somebody who can like literally make a quick decision um, when it comes to the economy, because there's a guy south of the border right now who's just playing, chopsticks with the controls and turning knobs, and just he's not ruling with any kind of plan. He's just over there doing things and just seeing what will happen, right? Like, the truth is the world is heading for a recession. We're definitely going to head into a recession. Um, and the last thing I heard was something like a 90% chance guarantee we're going into a recession. Now, of course, conservatives are going to turn around and be like, well, it's going to be all Mark Carney's fault if we get a recession. No, what we need Carney for is that when we hit that recession, to minimize the amount of damage that's going to come from that, right? So Baked on Things, silly. We did not choose chains over freedom. Okay. Now here's another guy. Josh on topic. So allow me to put this up there. Now let's listen to Josh on topic and his opening line.
This election proved a simple fact. Canadians chose fear over freedom, and they chose a leader that will be apparent to them in government. They refused to take responsibility for their own lives, so therefore they chose chains instead. So, Mark Carney, now that he will be our leader, he will be probably
He really
continuing his
he really
original
swallowed
mission,
that
which
one, huh?
is to cause vast economic hardship to Canadians under the guise of helping them. He will continue the green energy policy that we have seen to be so destructive under Justin Trudeau, but he will take it up a notch.
Okay, so again, the link to this video is in my description if you really want to see what this silly human has to say. But yeah, Mark Carney is coming for you. He's going to be the parent that Canada uh, is asking for. Later in the video, he says it's tyranny. He's going to be a tyrant. Based on what? Like, like literally, people are out there saying some of the silliest stuff. And one, I'm not sure they understand what these things mean. And two, it's kind of insulting a little bit, right? So we call Mark Carney, this guy calls Mark Carney a tyrant. Uh, he's never been in any position of political power. He's never held an office before like this. So we have no history of knowing whether or not he's going to be a tyrant, first of all. Secondly, he's led two major world central banks, right? With full transparency and no authoritarianism. So, yeah, managing economies is not tyranny. Okay. So just spouting nonsense bullshit about tyranny. Okay, now both of these monkeys over here, joshed and baked on things. I don't know what that guy's name is. And anyways, they both talk about the green energy and the carbon tax. Now the carbon tax is tricky. I'm not 100% convinced it was completely thought out. But it was like a net neutral situation where like there was an increase of price of things like gasoline and stuff intended to make corporations have to pay a little bit more and try to encourage people to limit their carbon footprints. Um, but then the government turned around and gave those funds back to the people who were technically using that money to pay for gas at the pump anyways. So it was kind of a net neutral thing. I'm not really sure how much impact it had environmentally speaking, but it wasn't like whether it's there or not there, it really didn't make it much of a difference. Okay. Having said that, Mark Carney brilliantly just said, "Forget it. We're done. We're not doing carbon tax anymore." Um, and the conservatives, of course, were like, "Oh, look, he's buying your votes by removing this carbon tax." Um, no, I think Carney removed the carbon tax because it was pretty much the only argument that the conservatives had. So without the carbon tax, they kept calling, let's have a carbon tax election. You couldn't have a carbon tax election because Mark Carney got rid of it before he even called an election. I think that's bravo. And if he brings it back, fine. Hopefully he'll just have a little bit more, he thought it through a little bit more and how it actually helps the environment. That's the part I think was really missing from the carbon tax. It was kind of a net neutral situation. It didn't really cost too many people much of anything. It was just a lot of money moving around. I'm not really sure that it helped anybody or encouraged anybody to reduce their carbon footprint. Now, as far as clean energy goes, I mean, it's important for the world to engage on this discussion and to try to do the best they can to reduce their carbon footprints. And then we've got the Green New Deal, which is just a pact. It doesn't mean anything. There's no real like problems or fines if you don't reach the goals you set for yourself. Nobody's going to say anything to you about it. So like America and Donald Trump, they're constantly talking about getting out of the Green New Deal because it's a bullshit deal. Well, it kind of is a bullshit deal, but not in the way that Trump frames it. It's just a bullshit deal in that it's a handshake agreement, more or less, between a lot of the bigger countries on the planet to try to clean up their act. In fact, if anything, I think it's almost kind of become like a bit of a challenge, right? They're kind of like who can get cleaner quicker, and it's almost competitive and kind of fun. It kind of puts a fun little spin on environmentalism. Okay, now with that in mind, if Carney can do anything regarding green energy and the environment, it's only going to create jobs. In fact, Canada has a clean energy project that they're hoping to add over 500,000 jobs by 2030. Again, these are some really big targets that no one expects anybody to hit, but I think um, an effort in that direction will still be a positive, right? Um, Now, both of these guys, but mainly the Josh guy, went on about free speech. Oh man, what a stupid thing that this guy said. So, Josh talked about Bill C 63 or whatever it's called, and he claimed it would criminalize speech. Well, it's not true. B Bill C 63, according to my notes here, uh, it's about exploitation and terrorism. It's not political. It's nothing like that. In fact, if there was any real problems with free speech, um, you know, I wouldn't be here doing this, and those idiots wouldn't be over there doing what they're doing, right? Um, the bill is just in place to protect, like children, for example, from being exploited, any terroristic threats, things of that sort, right? Free speech remains protected under Canada's Charter of Rights. So you're still free to say anything you want, as long as it's, not threatening or, harming anybody else. Now, that doesn't mean that you should, and now I'm speaking directly to both Josh and this baked on whatever guy. You should be able to just go out there and start spouting fear and threatening all kinds of stupid things. Okay. Um, Now, both of these guys are also talking about how the economy is going to be collapsing or is collapsing now, and it's all going to be Carney's fault. So that's probably one of the biggest bullshit lies that both of these guys have told, and I'm sure other people are going to say it. Um, you know, these right wing YouTube Canadian channels are hilarious, and they're just coping so hard because their guy PP couldn't get the job done. Now, it's very unlikely that Carney is going to be the cause of an economy collapsing. In fact, that would go against every instinct and fiber of his being. He's literally been responsible for either recovering from collapsed economies or protecting economies from collapsing. The reason we came out of COVID as strong as we did is because of guys like Mark Carney and actually, Mark Carney, who, he it's his job. It was his day job to deal with economic disasters. So there's no world where Carney is going to cause an economic collapse. Now, Trump, on the other hand, is in fact going to cause an economic collapse, which puts Carney as the best possible choice for Canada to be in that position because Carney will be able to handle it quickly and make decisions that need to happen. And all he needs is for a couple of people on the opposition to agree with his plans and vote in his favor, and things will get done. It's going to be a shitty couple of years, but it won't be because of Carney and the Liberal government. It'll be because are constantly going to be on the defensive for whatever Trump wakes up on some random morning and decides to do a thing. So it's perfect. And by the way, Canada's unemployment rate is like at an all-time low. So go away. Another thing both of these guys talk about is communism and how Canada is, like the Soviet Union, and it's embarrassing. It really is. So first of all, tell me you don't understand what communism is by claiming we're going to become communist. Another word that they use too is globalist. Uh, I didn't know that globalist was a dog whistle. Personally, I consider myself a globalist, and I think that having a global mindset is actually pretty good, right? Like the more prosperous we become, we should always be reaching back and pulling people up with us. Um, I want Canada to be a world leader, and I want other governments to look at Canada and say, you know what, they really got it together. Let's see if we can follow suit. And I think we should offer all the assistance we can um, in that regard. So, if they want to call globalist and make that sound like a bad thing, okay, fine. But communism, no. I mean, we couldn't be further from communist. In fact, if we were communist, um, we probably wouldn't have as many of these problems that we're going to have with America and Trump coming up. To be quite frank, yeah, go look at what communism actually is. The fact that it's associated with countries like Russia and their failure to wield communism, um, it doesn't necessarily mean communism is a bad thing on paper. Uh, so right about now, as I said that, there's people gonna be like, "Oh, it's communist." I'm not a communist. I'm not about communism. I definitely like a socialist ideal. Um, I do have friends who will tell you that communist on paper is not actually a bad thing. The problem with it is that by the time you start getting into communism as a government, um, people exploit it and then things go bad very, very quickly. But in any case, communists, another crazy dog whistle. Okay. Again, I'm not saying I want to live in a communist country. What I am saying is that when people start calling communism, they don't actually know what communism is. Go look at China. That's what, in fact, China is on that fine line between communism and uh, capitalism, right? They're very capitalistic, but their own people are definitely in a communist state. And of course, Russia and Putin seem to me like they're always reaching to get back to that. Now, last thing I'll just mention about these guys and anybody else who thinks like them is this idea of resistance. So, sure, you can resist, and it's fine. You know what? The government should we should hold our leaders accountable. We should hold their feet to the flame, and we should always be like, "Are you sure about this?" Like, "All right," you know what I mean? But bottom line is, a liberal government is voted in, which means the people who voted in Canada have decided this is the government they want for the next while. Okay. But to turn around and talk about resistance and using fear mongering and saying things like, "Oh, Alberta should leave then. Alberta should just separate from Canada." That's never gonna happen. It's just not. There's only about, like, maybe 20% of Albertans who are even talking this way, and given how important Alberta is to Canada's economy, there's just no way that a referendum would ever pass for Alberta to separate from Canada. And the second that Alberta did separate from Canada, it would almost immediately need to find itself joining some other government somewhere, and it would probably end up being America. And then right away, they would lose all of their health care. They would have all of their resources stolen from them. That's right. You wouldn't be getting money for your oil anymore. America would just take it and expect it for free. Um, and it would be a terrible, terrible deal. So, this idea of Alberta separating and using fear mongering to incite, resistance. I saw a lot of right wing chats during the election yesterday. Um, People calling for civil war and saying "Welcome to China," and this stuff is terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. Um, Anybody who thinks like that and says shit like that doesn't understand anything about what is actually happening in the world. Um, and that's fine. So you're angry, fine, be angry, but at least be angry over facts, not fiction. Okay. The truth is, the stage is now set, and we have exactly the right man for this moment in Mark Carney. Trump is already back in office. He's throwing tariffs around like candy. He's pausing them one week, reinstating them the next, destabilizing global markets by pure impulse. Okay. The world is heading into a recession, whether you like it or not. I mean, it's very, very likely. But it's not going to be because of Canada. Um, but of reckless chaos being unleashed south of the border. Like, Carney isn't perfect, but he's a professional crisis manager, someone who knows how to handle financial shocks, someone who understands how to keep Canada's economy steady. When the world is shaking apart, we don't need angry tweets and panic politics. We need leadership. Okay. Um, and whether you like it or not, Mark Carney is the adult in the room. So while you're busy crying about chains and communism, some of us are busy defending democracy and protecting Canadians from real dangers. Okay. So stay mad and we'll stay ready. Okay. For those of you who came out to see what I was up to over here on Skeptic Spin suddenly out of nowhere after a few months of not being online, hey, thanks. Jeff C, Look at the Trees, and Raven Darkstar, thank you so much. And anyone else who's out there. But I wasn't planning to stay here long. I just wanted to respond to some of these crackpot videos I'm seeing on YouTube, and to express my pride in Canada voting a Liberal government again. So it's historic, and I am really proud right now to be Canadian. And I am. I don't want to say I'm looking forward to the next few years, because honestly, it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be the most prosperous time, because we're always going to be on the defensive, just waiting to see what the American president does next. But I think we've got the right guy in the right job. So, if Josh and Baked on Things or whoever these idiots are want to respond to this, cool. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, though, because uh, frankly, you don't have any idea what you're talking about. You're misleading on your facts. You guys probably get all of your history and economic lessons from your Bibles, and um, are just spouting dog whistles and screaming silliness. But yeah, elbows up, Canada. And as my chat says, Look at the Trees says, as an American, elbows up, and I'm with y'all, and I appreciate that. And you know what, America, I think most Canadians will tell you, we don't blame all of you, right? Like, we understand the difference. Even in this video and episode, you'll notice I was trying to be careful in calling out Trump and not America, right? I have a lot of American friends now. I did not have any American friends a year and a half ago, and now I've got some of my favorite people um, are American. So I'm with you as well. Okay, so um, the stage is set. We've got what we need. Canada's ready to go. Trump, bring it on, and we're gonna do our best. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. So, Ways to Human, hey, thanks for coming out. You're just in time for me to bugger out, and I'm so glad you guys were here. You guys are fantastic to show up for a live stream just to have me. I don't know, rant or vlog. I don't even know what this is. This is completely unplanned. I just felt like reacting, and I'm just super happy with um, how our elections turned out yesterday. So I'm going to get out of here because it's early, and I haven't even had my second cup of coffee yet. But like and subscribe and share this stream out to anybody out there who needs a reality check on what is actually going on here in Canada. All right. Have a good day, everybody.